It's the green screen crew today. Do you know what? Forget the intro. I can't find it. Let's just go straight into it. So, joining me today is Mr. Gunner King, the TikTok legend himself. How are you, sir?
All good, man. All good, man. Just busy on the grind, man. Yeah, meetings all day. Another interview at 3:00. Busy, man.
Busy. Yeah, I see you rocking the green screen as well. I'm loving that. Like I said, if you can find King, he's there. If you don't know where he is,
that's my home.
You can find him there.
That's where I live now. I live on TikTok.
It's kind of like a 1980s music video, and it's like, "Take on me."
It does, doesn't it? It's kind of bad still.
Anyway, let's get down to business. So, stories this morning. Brezzy brought it to our attention. PSV Eindhoven, 22-year-old Dutch striker, Cody Gakpo. Do you know much about him?
Very limited, but yeah, decent looking striker, to be honest. Right age group. Yeah, very, very technical. Good pace on him as well. I think he'll need to adjust a bit to the physical rigors of the Prem, but yeah, I think he looks like a very exciting talent.
Let's bring this graphic up for you just to help you out a little bit. So, I mean, look, his heat map looks serious. He's played 15, started 14 of those, with 16 goal involvements. I mean, that's some serious numbers right there. According to whoscored.com, his strengths are dribbling, crossing, key passes, through balls, finishing, long shots, although his weaknesses are defensive contributions. His style of play, likes to cut inside, gets fouled often, likes to short pass, likes to dribble, does not dive into tackles. I mean, that's something else you do want to see. What catches your eye on that graphic there, King?
The heat map, as Canners has said here quite correctly, it looks like he's more of an inside forward. He looks like he operates where he's drifting inside quite a lot. Is that going to help us in the immediate? I think it would be interesting to see how. Obviously, we've got Martinelli on that side. Would that mean we'd put Martinelli up top? Could work, with those two in tandem. Or a two-striker system with Lacazette, with maybe Odegaard just behind the two of them. Could be an option. Maybe we could use him as a false nine with that, with that heat map, with his movement in and around the box, bringing in the likes of, whether it's Saka or Pepe on the right-hand side, or Martinelli or Smith Rowe on the left. It looks like, with his strengths there being key passes, with his goal involvements not just being limited to goals, but assists as well. I think there's some capacity there for him to link up quite well with the attacking players that we've got at the moment. I would just be interested to see if I think in terms of what we are looking for, it seems like we are looking for a bit more of a ST, like a traditional kind of centre forward. Doesn't strike me very much as similar in profile to Vlahovic, so it's a very interesting twist. But if he's available for 20 million, at 22,
exactly,
snap him up.
He strikes me as a kind of
eventually. So,
yeah. I mean, he strikes me. I don't want to hype him up too much because he is only young, and we've only seen bits of him. But from what I've seen, it's kind of like a hybrid of a Armoury, Lacazette type of player. Would you agree with that? And I think if he was to join in January to work with someone like Lacazette before he goes, could actually benefit him.
That's what I'm thinking. I think definitely. I think I've said I want to keep Lacazette for one more season, even if we buy a striker, because it's looking like whatever striker we're going to bring in is going to be fairly young anyway. So yeah, I definitely think it looks like he could work quite well with Lacazette. Sort of cutting inside from that left-hand side. I've kind of always wanted, since the days of Armoury, I've always wanted to see those moments again, like just someone jinxing players from the left-hand side, taking players on, trying to find opportunities to shoot. Yeah, I think, and he looks like he plays more in that mold.
On the as well.
Yeah, he does remind me of him, somewhat as well. Just the way he's kind of opening up his body, dropping his shoulder, uses the instep of his feet a lot, uses both his feet as well. It seems like as well, seems to be quite comfortable using both his feet. So yeah, I think he would be a good signing. Just in terms of for me. Eventually, I always see Martinelli eventually becoming a number 9. So that's going to take someone away from the left-hand channel. Smith Rowe, I see eventually being a number 8/10. Again, that's your two left-sided players that you'd want operating centrally. So maybe this is a longer-term kind of strategy towards making that possible. Bringing this guy to operate from the left. And yeah, look, the future, I mean, the way that the modern game is played is with wing forwards now, with people cutting inside, the likes of Salah, Mane, you look at
Mahrez.
Yeah, these guys, so yeah, I think, I wouldn't too adverse to the signing. Do I think he can operate as a central striker? That's my reservation.
That's only Qatar. He's still young, but looks a very, very exciting prospect. And if we could snap him up for a cheeky 20 million, why not? Let me just quickly run through some comments.
Even if we did snap him up here and said, look, do you know what? Keep him until the end of the season. Just there's your 20 mil. Take it now. You keep hold of him until the summer. Let him get some experience there, and then let him come have a full pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, this will come on to some of the comments we've got here. Canners, good afternoon, sir. I hope you're feeling well. I know you're feeling rough, but I hope you feel better soon. He's not a centre forward. He plays on the left of a 3. He's played along the front 3 and in midfield. I've seen. So he's quite versatile on the front line. So if he was to get him, we'll see. We'll see. Gumza locked on. The Army TV goes to everyone's Silver Foxes, but yeah, no intros today. Listen, you missed me. You've missed me. Gary, good afternoon to you. Good, thanks for joining us. Good player, Dutch international, clinical, great shot, great dribble. More of a side forward, and obviously you've touched on that, King. Not a typical central striker. Big up to you, sir. This is an interesting comment from Gary as well. Loan him out to like a Brentford or Crystal Palace. Let him grow into the Premier League. Get used to the league. Get used to the lifestyle, and then bring him back. I mean, that's not a bad option at all.
You wouldn't be able to do that. He's played for one club. He's played for one club. So unless he doesn't play a game for us, we could loan him out again. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, if you've played for 2 clubs, I don't think you can play for a third.
Oh, I'm not sure. Is that a rule, or is that in maybe our league? I don't know. We'll have to look into that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
but I think that wouldn't be a bad option. But I would actually keep him if we was to sign him this January. I would want him to work with Lacazette for sure. I know he wouldn't get much game time. He'll get a few cameos. We don't know what's going on with Aubameyang. It looks like he's going to go off. We don't know. But I would like to keep, if Lacazette's going in the summer, I'd like to keep him at Arsenal so he can work with him.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
Yeah, maybe at the stage of his career he's at, I think maybe first team minutes, sorry, is very important. You know, I think he's at that age, 22, where he needs to be playing week in, week out. And I think if we're going to bring him back and not use him, I would prefer the idea of him staying at PSV where he's getting minutes, so that he kind of gets that experience. I believe they're in Europe still as well, if I'm not mistaken. So he's going to be playing. I'm sure they are. You check that, actually.
I mean, it would be beneficial. I know I said like him to work with Lacazette, but if he's in this vein of form right now for PSV, buy him, loan him back there, let him continue that form, and then, you know, he'll come and have pre-season with us. So yeah, I wouldn't be against that at all.
Yeah, they're still in the Europa League, I think.
Yeah, so I mean that would, if we were to qualify for Europe, that would benefit him as well. So yeah, I would be for that for sure. I mean, at 20 million, it's a steal for an exciting prospect like him. It really is. Yes, Boots. What we're telling you transfers, mate. Hope you're well, sir. Gums, yeah, get him now. Might not see the best of him for a few years, but has a very high ceiling. I do agree. He's probably basing that on his Football Manager, but he certainly does.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Gums. I knew you did. Yeah, that's just what I do. And Gary, I just loaned him out straight away. So Gary's all about getting him now and loaning him out straight away. And we just said PSV is a good option, but he wants to keep him in London. You know, people have their preferences, and whatever would benefit the player, we'll be behind. But I think this is definitely a kind of player that we need to be looking at. But also, we still need to get that striker to get us to the European places that we desire for the end of the season. Which would probably mean,
because as I said, you know, like an altruistic way of looking at it is bringing in someone that can operate on the left-hand channel, frees up Martinelli to play centrally. Then you could go back to what we've been doing, which is kind of like with Lacazette kind of being behind Aubameyang, where he was like in the second striker / tempe place, with either Martinelli or this guy in front of him. Or, you know, those guys, either one of them goes on the wing, one of them goes up front, maybe in front of Lacazette, with Lacazette behind them, kind of being the dog's body of that that sort of partnership. And then you can have even, there'd be a lot of interchanging, because I think there's a lot of movement off the ball that he does. Where he likes to come in from the wide space anyway. And Martinelli, as we've seen from a few goals this season, likes to, I'm thinking, like the goal against Leeds, the goal against West Ham, where he has made that kind of, that diagonal run in, and he's almost become the striker, and Lacazette's drawn in all the centre backs. So, yeah, man, I think definitely that could be interesting. I think he could work well with Martinelli for sure as well. Yeah,
definitely, for sure. Canners agrees with you. You have to keep him and then loan him next season. Not a bad shout.
I think it's a case of if they've actually made an appearance, because that DJ Spence that we were linked to, the Nottingham Forest.
Jed Spence, yeah.
Because he had already played for Middlesbrough before he went on loan to Forest. I think because he had made appearances for both of them, if we're to buy him now, we wouldn't be able to register him. So it'd be a case of he'd stay at Middlesbrough and they would effectively keep him on loan at Forest until the end of the season. Yeah.
Bood says we need at least two strikers. Well, we can agree with that. We need to. We need. I'd say we need one for right now. Then maybe look at someone in the summer, because we still need that central midfielder for me. Gums says now you can buy and loan straight out.
Yeah,
he should know.
So as long as he doesn't make an appearance for us, then we could loan him straight out effectively. Whereas if he makes an appearance for us, that would be it. We'd have to keep him because he's made an appearance for two
Yeah, I
different
guess
clubs.
so. Yeah. If he plays for Arsenal, then he'll have to stay for the season. We brought back loads of loan players this window and loaned them back out to better clubs.
Yeah.
Carey says midday robbery for 20 million. It really is for what we've seen of him this season. It definitely is 20 million.
It ties in really well with obviously what we've been doing, which is buying players on the up. You know, in that kind of under 23 age bracket. And it looks like what we're doing is we're really kind of stacking all the bases for when the likes of Klopp and Pep eventually are being phased out. I think that's what we're really kind of stockpiling for, which is a good strategy, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Cannons again, if this is all about the possibilities of loaning them back out, everyone's touching on it. Guys, are we likely to sign anyone in this window? King, why don't you let the people know what you've told us this morning?
I'm telling you, I've got faith. Yeah. Now, let's just picture, right? We know how delicately poised the top four races. And if you noticed, all of those that are most heavily involved, i.e. your West Hams, your Tottenham, your Arsenal, United. I am going to include Chelsea because I think there is we can't rule out the possibility of them dropping more points with the injuries that they've got and maybe perhaps getting dragged into dangerous waters. And if you look at all those clubs, none of them have really done anything. It's almost like they're waiting for someone to move first. Now, let's just say hypothetically in the first week of January, we bought someone. And everyone's like, right, oh my God, like Arsenal have bought this player. We better do something because, you know, it's going to start a bit of an arms race, you know. So I think what all of them are doing is they're just waiting for one of them to make the first move. And I think what you're going to see is basically just a spree of all of these clubs doing their shopping within the last few days of the window. So what is Thursday now? Window closes on Monday. I think we might see some activity tomorrow. There'll be ongoing talks over the weekend with people's reps and players so that on Monday they can just wake up and just get all the paperwork done. You know, and what they want to do is I think what they're doing is they're trying to do it under a cloud of secrecy so that it's like one of the clubs gets left in a situation where what they're expecting to compete with is the squad as it is at the moment. And we've just kind of sprung it on them. Like, you know, all these players where it's like, damn, you know, like, and they've not had a chance to adjust. And I think the other thing as well, what we've seen with Vlahovic, what we've seen with Bruno Gimenez, the moment Arsenal are linked to or go in for a player, another team's coming in straight away sniffing. You know, like our scouting network since Wenger has been that kind of network where it's trusted, where other clubs are just like, well, Arsenal are looking at them, they must be good. Like, you've seen that over the years. So again, I think maybe Arsenal are running down the clock so that there is less chance that any players that they're going in for, there's any kind of counter offer or movements, any kind of sideswiping from any other clubs who are obviously on the last day going to be busy concentrating on a lot of different things. These are just a few theories I've got anyway. You know, I don't know.
It's an interesting take. I've got to admit, you kind of got me thinking there a little bit. I'm not going to lie, but I'm always going to be skeptical. Obviously, past windows are going to do that to us. You're probably a little bit skeptical yourself.
I am.
So, I get the logic. I get the logic.
We are a club that historically hasn't done anything in January. But I do feel, you know, watching Josh Kroenke's interview where he said, look, we did recognize that we couldn't do everything in this window and that there was more work to do on the squad in coming windows. And it just seems it would be strange, you know, to do this much head work, to be in this position because no one would have expected us to be 2 points off top four at the beginning of the season with the 6 players that we signed. We have been a bit fortuitous with the teams around us being probably not up to their best, especially when you look at United and Spurs. And these are the sorts of things we've got to capitalize on, man. You know, like when United brought Bruno, they were worse off than this, a year and a half ago. That propelled them to top four. They haven't looked back since. West Ham, Lingard last season, what he did when he came in January, gave that team a new lease of life, propelled West Ham to Europe. Willock, we sent him to Newcastle, propelled them to survival, a 12th place finish, his goals. So I can't really see the bigwigs at Arsenal looking at these circumstances and not thinking that this isn't something we need to do. And look, the owners are going to know. You can see like the effort that they like. I'm not trying to defend them, but the effort that they went this summer to get the fans back on board, it would be such a shame if they just kind of didn't keep that momentum going, weren't seeing the importance of that continued buy-in by keeping because if the window shuts and we don't get anyone, you know what's going to happen. You know what the Twitter spheres are going to be like, the Twitter spaces, the TikToks, the YouTubes. You know it's going to descend into chaos. You know there's going to be
see those things behind you, yeah.
And you know any points that we drop between now and the end of the summer, that is going to be brought up, and it's going to damage the morale of the squad. It's going to damage the morale of the fans. And I really, really hope that they understand the importance of it this year, more than any year. You know, that at least then, if they brought the players in and we don't make top four, we can turn around and say, you know what, you lot tried. You lot did your best. You know, like you lot put your balls on the table. You know, like you can't.
Yeah, that's the point that Canners is making here. You know, the ultimate objective was to get back into European football. Yeah, Champions League's the dream, but with the squad we've got, we have to qualify for Europe.
I mean, it's up in the air, even Europe, the way the squad is at the moment. We saw how quickly things can change with the draw against Burnley, with injuries, with COVID. You know, they've now changed the rules. I don't know if you've seen that today. A precedent set by Arsenal's game. Yeah. So by the rules, now we would have had to have played Spurs with 12 available first team players. And something like that could be so costly to our season. I think all roads point to making some signings. And we've left it late, but I remain confident that we're going to make them.
Bruce makes a cracking point here. We are loan merchants in January, and I think we will see maybe another loan. It's probably not going to be after Mello because that looks like that's going.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know if you've seen the reports of that. It's going to be with a purchase option for half the price that Juve paid for him. So Juve paid like.
I'm hoping it's just an option and not an obligation. As long as it's an option, I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I think there's an option there. So it's like a fixed price, 18 months.
Right.
It is what it is. You know, like, look, I mean, I would prefer permanent signings, but just as long as we get at least 2 players, a central midfielder and a striker, anything after that's a bonus. I still think we need cover at right back. I still think we do need, someone that can operate from the wide areas, particularly on the right-hand side. If Pepe doesn't return to his best form, and I would understand if the club wanted to leave that until the summer and at least just give Pepe until the end of the season and just see what he can do. He's done okay at AFCON. So we'll see, man.
So he's old now.
Yeah, but I think just as long as there's a central midfielder and a striker, if it's got to be a loan, Jovic, even if it's Jovic and Mello, you know what? I mean, it wouldn't be the ideal purchases I was looking for, but at least they put the players there, man. At least
I mean,
they
they should be good enough for European qualification. But
I know you don't rate Jovic, man, but he is an underrated baller, man. You know,
I'm not all about the whole loaning 2 players. Yeah, no. This comment is spot on for me. This window will show the club's ambition 100%. If we don't get this, it's clear. We've all said it. We've said it since before the window. We need a central midfielder. We need a striker. We need to get those deals done this window. Which is thankfully there's no more games left in January, and there hasn't been since the Burnley game. So I'm hoping that they are working on something. Obviously, we've seen Arteta out in Colorado with the Cronkies. So I mean, hopefully he's at a work.
Without fire, man.
Yeah, it's. I don't know what to think anymore. It's all logic, King, but I don't often see my club working with it. Yeah, listen, we all go by past mistakes. We're used to it. Board will just say we spent the most in the summer. They tried to get their targets, but it was too difficult. Blah 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 blah. Possibly. Who are the likeliest players we get on loan or buy? I think you've touched on probably a Jovic and. Arthur Melo on loan. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we did sign Calvert-Lewin, you know. That says it all, doesn't it? Do you know what? The more
he's not bad. You know, like I know the other day on the show, I was like, I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying for the money. And look, I did in the summer say that we needed to get some English players, and we've done that. You know, build a bit of an English core and all this jazz. But by the same token, 60 million would get you a far more proven striker on the European stage. And I think, for me, I'd want someone a bit more proven if I'm paying that much for a striker. Obviously, he's proven in the Prem. He got 16 goals, no penalties last season. Got injured this season, but doesn't get injured very much. But look, it wouldn't be the worst signing in the world, you know.
No, it wouldn't. Right now, you know, if he was to get a fit Calvert-Lewin, he'll score a number of goals for us, even if it's just 5. He'll still score enough goals that probably grab us that European qualification. Another striker that has been spoken about recently online is, which I don't see happening. I can't see Napoli selling, and plus he'll be expensive as well. Is Victor Osimhen? How much do you believe in that?
That would, I mean, if they did that, I'd be absolutely ecstatic. Honestly, top striker. But coming back from an injury now, he had a very serious facial injuries. He fractured cheekbones, eye sockets, all sorts. Caught a nasty collision a few months ago. So I think he is playing with a mask again now.
I believe so. He came back and then he come out with coronavirus. So I don't think he's actually come back just yet. No,
but by the same token, they've only just brought him for like just over 60 million.
75 million euros, I saw.
Yeah,
and so he's currently valued at 60 million. And they want to sell more. They want to sell him for more. So if you can spend that money, just get garbage.
They're not going to have bought him this summer to sell him like in the next window.
No chance.
I just don't see it. I think it will be more of the end of the season thing.
I'm going to throw a name at you.
Maybe they're bringing in one striker now and they're already lining up their targets for the summer. And maybe he's the one that you bring in the summer.
Possibility.
I'm
going to throw a name at you.
Go on.
From the same league, plays for Sassuolo. Gianluca Scamacca is a player that I've been watching. I think he could probably fit. We have had quiet links with him, but nothing significant. But you know, would that be a kind of player that you'd want to bring in, like a Scamacca?
Yeah, I think he is more like, you know, sort of your central striker. You know, I think a bit more, not like identical to Vlahovic, but yeah, I think
similar.
He definitely, like, you know, much more operates more in central areas. Tidy finisher. Strong, fairly good in the air as well.
He's tall. He's very tall.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, I think he, I wouldn't turn my nose up at that either. I think the other guys we're looking at, the Thomas guy from Deportivo, one that I've not really seen us being linked to, but I've been watching him a lot at Benfica, and I really, really like is Darwin Núñez. Remember this name, man. This guy is going to be sick, man. Honestly, I think he looks perfect for us, man. Looks really good.
Yeah. We need to give Edu a call, don't we? Mikhail usually watches us, but hopefully he'll watch this back and know he's taking his notes. If you were to give me a top 3 strikers that you've been linked with, who are your top 3? I think Vlahovic would be everyone's number 1. Who would follow him?
Well, I mean, Vlahovic is pretty much not going to happen, is it? So I almost don't want to.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take Vlahovic out of it, and then we'll do a top 3 without Vlahovic.
For me, definitely, I think undeniably, I really like the look of Isak. I just think, he's tall, but he's not a hold-up player. But he's got that in his locker. But I really like how he links up with the players around him. He's got good awareness of the players around him, of space, how to create a yard to shoot, very explosive. Can use both his feet. I see him being perfect. Like, he is literally chiseled for this league. This league is made for him. I have heard rumblings that he would have concerns about coming to Arsenal, similar to Vlahovic. But he's got a release clause. So in terms of negotiating with a club, if we rock up there with 70 million, there's nothing to negotiate apart from terms with the player. And I think if he saw us do that, I think that would change his perspective a lot, because it'd be like, all right, you really want me, because you are going to these lengths, triggering my release clause, showing you mean business, showing the ambition that I'm looking to see. Because I think this is what, I think more than not being in the Champions League places, I think someone like Vlahovic looks at our lack of proactivity in the transfer market and thinks, yeah, but what if I come and I become the next Van Persie that they promise the world and don't deliver on? So I think if Isak saw that, I think that would definitely at least leave him open to conversation. And Arteta has got a few over the line, He had Thomas Partey on the blower, and he was just like, look, mate, it was the same thing. Really did the release clause the summer before last on deadline day. Arteta himself got on the blower to him. That impressed him a lot. He said, could we pull something off like that with Isak? So I definitely say him. As I said, I really like this Núñez guy, so I'm going to put him second, although I've not seen a great deal of links to him. And for me, third, I'm going to go with Ivan Toney. Already in the league. I think I like Ivan Toney. I've always liked him. I know he's a Liverpool fan. I know he spoke out of tone after they beat us, but I kind of like that. The fact that they showed a bit of character, kind of like Troy Deeney sort of thing, and he's talking about
that's what you want to see in your players, really.
I think Ivan
Toney would be more of a summer. I mean, I think most of these strikers are probably more of a summer thing. But so you've gone
Toney,
as your number 3.
Yeah, I'd have him as 3. I'd have Darwin Núñez as 2, and my number 1 undeniably is definitely Isak. At this stage.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still not sold on Isak, but I'll tell you my 3 anyway. So let's go 3 up. So we'll go 3. I'm actually going to go Calvert-Lewin just because he's proven, and I want someone in like now. And if it means it's Calvert-Lewin, so be it. He would get us a few goals, which will get us that European spot we're after. Number 2, Scamacca. just because I've mentioned them, we have had there's been whispers. That's all it's been. But a link is a link. So I'm going for Gianluca Scamacca. And then number 1 for me is Jonathan David. I mean, I love that player. I don't think it would happen in January because I think they've already spoken about how they wouldn't sell to the summer anyway if they were to sell at all.
I think he's nailed on. I think he's nailed on for the summer though. 100%. I think he's nailed on.
I just think his all-round game is something else, and yeah, you know the language is not going to be a problem because he's Canadian. So, yeah, I'm all over Jonathan David. He was my second to Vlahovic anyway, so obviously he now creeps into number 1.
I might him as my number 3 instead of Tony or Nunes. Actually, no, I'm going to leave mine as is. Okay. I'll let you have David. I'll let you have him.
Okay. Hey, listen, we're watching the replay. Give us your top 3 choices for strikers. We'll look back. It'd be interesting to see what people have to say.
Leave them in the comment section as well, man.
Definitely.
Like, guys,
and we'll come back to them. We'll come back to if there's anyone we missed, if there's any strikers that you've watched that fit the mold. Tell us all about it. We'd love to see it. On to just before we do go, because we have been going on for some time now. Central midfielder Ruben Neves has been talked about again.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, I'm all over it. That would be brilliant. You know, I think him and Partey together, I think that would be a very compelling partnership. I think he could even work with Gakpo.
Yeah,
I think he could.
Yeah, I think he could.
Maybe you got a lack of mobility there and pace, but definitely him and Partey. Oh my God, him and Partey.
I would also look at Douglas Luiz from
Aston Villa. Yeah, because they're looking to bring in. The weird thing is, right? They're looking to bring in Benaka from Juve for only 20 million. And we're like, if they buy him for 20 million, we'll get Luis. But why don't we go Juve and get him for 20 million?
Well,
that's another one.
And he was one of ours, wasn't he?
Bring him home.
He was come back home. So I think the Ruben Neves, we're all over. If not him, I'll take a Douglas Luiz all day. David Luiz, no. But yeah, definitely Douglas Luiz. Yeah, well, we've gone on for some time, King, but this is what we do, man. Once we start talking about Arsenal transfers, that's what it's like. But yeah, I think we're going to leave it there. So, King, always a pleasure, never a chore. What are you up to today? TikToking later?
Yeah. So some of that, some work.
Make sure you follow him. He's a hoot, that's for sure. And Boots as well. Boots, he's lively on there as well. When you two get together, I saw it the other day. It was chaos. I think you had a couple of Chelsea man on there, didn't you?
Yeah, mate. Jesus.
Yeah, that was very entertaining. Very, very entertaining. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow. Don't know who with, but we'll be back hopefully for some more. It's got to liven up now. We're going to see more players being linked. Will it actually happen? That remains to be seen. But we've been talking about strikers today, so we'll probably talk about midfielders tomorrow. But this is Arsenal. Anything can happen. But yeah, please like, subscribe, share, tell your mates. Again, leave the comments below on who you think we should bring in and who, if we're going to sign anyone or whatever, please do. So I've been Mr. Silver Fox. He's been Mr. Gunner King. He's over there, Mr. Gunner King. And we shall see you very, very soon. Cheerio.